shot time.
Oh boy!
Welcome back to another episode of Learning Trick Shots is a Load of Fun. Today, guys, I have a great one for you. It's a little bit more complicated to set up. The execution isn't all that complicated. It's actually pretty easy. But it is going to take you having a good stroke and making sure that you strike your cue ball and the first object ball in the right way. All right. And it requires some good speed control. Pardon me, I got an itch on my nose. Anyway, but this one I call around the wall, and you'll see why. Kind of looks like you put a masse stroke on the cue ball, when in reality you haven't. You've actually just put, a relatively normal kind of English on the cue ball. So with that said, let's get into this particular episode and this particular trick shot. I think you guys are going to love it. This is another one, like if you have two balls left on the table, it's a good way to get out. If you're playing 9-ball, it's a great way to win the game in one shot. So here we go. All right. So the setup on this one is probably the most complicated part of this particular trick shot. So if you take a look at your diagram, you'll notice I have put some lines on there to help you guys out. So essentially what's going on is your blocking balls are going to be in a straight line, lines of center going straight up and down the table. All right. I can't draw a straight line to save my height on this thing. Anyway, but that's okay. So those are your blocking balls, right? You're going to set them up basically 1.5 diamonds from the corner pocket, all right? And then what you want to keep in mind is your cue ball has to be to this side of the center line of the table, all right? And generally speaking, it needs to be on this side of the line, right? So what you're basically looking at this point is you've got your cross section here. So the cue ball has to be somewhere this way and this way when you set up this shot, all right? So as you can see, I pretty much set it up basically right at the corner of that intersection there. Just for me, I find that tends to be the best way to pull this shot off. I mean, you can do it elsewhere on the table, you can do it in other ways and still pull off the same thing. But if you end up going on this side of that center line, then essentially what you're looking at is a different trick shot with a different stroke. And it's more similar to the one that I've showed you guys before, where the cue ball comes down here, hits the object ball, hits the rail, and then comes out and around to get that second ball. All right. So, but this is different, right? This requires a different stroke, different kind of English, different angles, all that sort of stuff. All right. So now your one ball is basically set up so the edge of it is even with the pocket's point, as you can see in the diagram. And then your 9-ball or whatever ball you're using for your second ball is just breaking the threshold of the pocket's point in the other corner pocket, as you can see from the diagram. All right. So with that said, that's your setup for this particular shot. Let's go ahead and bring up the execution for this shot. And it's a pretty wild looking shot, as you can see in the execution diagram. You're going to be striking the one ball so that you make it into the corner pocket here, right? So cue ball is going to come in, hit the right side of the one ball so that the one ball comes into this pocket. And then the cue ball is going to come off, hit the rail, bounce out here, and then curve back around to grab the 9 ball, all right? So it looks like you're putting a masse stroke on it, but in reality, you're really not. Because actually what you're doing is you're putting about a 1 o'clock shot on this, or one o'clock spin on this. In this particular instance, all right? If you were to set this up mirror image, then you're going to be putting 11 o'clock on it. So basically, keeping it simple, you're putting top outside English on the shot. And you're aiming to make the first object ball and so that the cue ball bounces off, curves around the wall, and hits your second ball. So, with that said, let's go ahead and see what happens. There you have it, guys. Pretty interesting shot and pretty wild looking, right? So let's watch that one more time, just in case you couldn't believe your eyes. And that is the around the wall trick shot, guys. Setup is a little more complicated than the average trick shot, or the simple ones that I've shown you in the past, but the execution is relatively simple. And again, it kind of demonstrates the physics of the game. So that's the trick shot for the day, around the wall. Pardon me. So if you guys are liking, well, this is a good one for you to do a little money making with your buddies. All right. So anyway, if you guys like this content, if you like what I'm doing with this channel, go ahead and give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so that you know when the next videos are coming out, because I've got a few more that are going to be coming out on a regular basis. And also leave a comment. Let me know what you think of the material, the content that I'm putting out. Let me know what you think of the trick shots. Let me know if you've tried them. Let me know if you've succeeded at them. Let me know if you're having trouble with them, because I'd love to communicate with you guys, help you guys out with accomplishing these trick shots. All right. So again, like, subscribe, leave a comment, and hit the notification bell. And we will see you guys next week for another episode.